Writers for the New York Post and publications like Indy 100 apparently can't find anything to write about, so they're making up dating trends among Zoomers, that's Gen Z. And the latest trend is something that they refer to as hardballing, which sounds very dirty, but I assure you it is not. So what is hardballing, Cenk? What is hardballing?
America wants to know.
Why are the Zoomers hardballing? Well, hardballing, which has been made popular by Gen Z, although they provide no evidence of that, involves being blunt and making expectations from a relationship clear from the start and disregarding anyone who doesn't match those expectations. So one dating expert apparently said they may tell you that they are just looking for something casual, or they may tell you that they are actually looking for their special someone as well. Let's just pause real quick. We're talking about Zoomers who are apparently popularizing this dating trend. They're like infants, like they're like 13 years old. Like really? Like there's Zoomers running around like looking for their next husband or wife or life partner. No. This is all BS. I don't believe any of it. And by the way, yes, I'm exaggerating. Zoomers aren't 13. They're a little older than that. But anyway, let me give you the rest. It's straight to the point and will help avoid any tricky "what are we" confusion later down the track. And if a conversation like that does scare them off, well, then clearly they weren't for you anyway. Count it as a blessing.
That last point I can't stand.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll tell you why in a
All
second.
of this is BS, all of it. First of all, don't fall victim to thinking this is an actual trend, and definitely do not be completely honest with someone off the bat. Just don't do it. You're gonna scare people away. I'm just telling the truth, but that's different from like really lying about who you are fundamentally. Of course, everyone presents like the best version of themselves as they meet someone that they want to date, but let's say you are a person looking for a life partner. If you make that apparent right off the bat, the individual you're interested in is gonna run away. Women, ladies, you gotta trap them, okay? So, look, I did it with Christian, it totally worked. Okay, Mr. Playboy, former professional athlete from Miami, I'm super hot and like all the ladies want me, right? Like, yeah.
I don't think Christian's a really nice guy. I don't think he said any of that.
He did not, but he had that air about him, right?
Okay.
And also he wasn't looking for, I'm not looking for anything serious. Yeah, that's what you think, homeboy.
This is terrible.
No, I'm married, got a ring, put a ring on it, okay?
I'm deeply amused by this.
By the way, but here's my point. Obviously I didn't trap him. My point is, I was interested in him, right? Like at first it was casual, we were having fun, but then I started developing feelings. And I wanted to be in a serious monogamous relationship with him. But if I had told him at the very moment I had those feelings, I don't know if it would have worked out because he wasn't ready yet. Like you gotta like massage the situation a little bit. You know what I'm saying? There was a lot of massaging going on.
Well, that I don't want to get into.
Okay.
But look, I think Brett Ehrlich, who you guys see on air a lot, he does a lot of Happy Half Hour, etc. Sunday Stream, Game Busters, all on twitch.tv/TYT. Check that out. But he's also a producer here, a really smart guy. He made a really great point about all of this, which was, look, dating is getting from the ideal version of you that you present at first to get anyone to like you, to transitioning to the real you. And you need that transition.
Yeah,
okay.
So true.
So it's a great point by Brett, right? So you can't just come up and go, oh, listen, like here are all my faults. People are gonna be like, really? Like, or here's all the things that I want. Here's the things that I need because I'm so needy.
It's
no, hold on.
Transactional that way, yeah.
Oh, that's a great point too. That's a slightly different point, but also like if you come in and you go, all right, well, look, here's my request. I'm gonna need, well, obviously 50% of all your money. Plus, like, no, hold on, we'll get there. Just give me a chance, right?
Yeah, lean into the magic of spontaneity.
Kind of, and look, it's not a matter of guys tricking girls or girls tricking guys, right? By the way, my wife and I go through this I say, oh, you tricked me into marriage. She's like, what are you talking about? You tricked me into marriage. And there's a little bit of truth to both, right? Because we all both started with the ideal version of us and transitioned to the actual us, right? And so that's how it works. And by the way, hardballing is not anything new. It's just that back in the day, we were a little bit more polite about it. I remember when I was a poverty-stricken talk show host, all the way back then. Okay, anyways, and I would go on dates, and you can tell when someone cares about money. It's not complicated, right? It's not hard. So here's how de facto hardballing would work. So are you thinking of going back into law at any time? Okay, because I used to be a lawyer and I quit like 9 months in, and then at the time I'm like, I've said this before on the air, but I made on average like $17,000 a year for like 15 years. So I'm like, I'm dirt poor. I got no money. Sometimes she's paying for the dinner, etc. But she knows I went to Columbia Law. I went to Wharton. So like,
you've got promise.
Exactly. I got future promise, which, well, apparently she made the right decision. But anyways, but you would see on a date people who cared about that. And I remember this one woman who asked 3 different times, like, but you're not ever considering going back to being an attorney, right? That's hardballing. That's saying, hey, you know what? I want to marry a rich guy. I don't want to marry you. But a message was delivered, but without actually saying, hey, here are my, the things that you need to check off, and here's all my demands. So it was obvious enough, and we had the decency to do it, vaguely in the past.
Love is a battlefield. Sometimes it's a tango, you know what I'm saying? But either way, like, you just kind of have to feel out the situation. I think everyone wants to believe that they want honesty and they want like blunt communication, but everyone who says that is full of it. You guys are all liars, okay? No one genuinely wants that. Everyone wants to feel their way through it. And there's a lot of nonverbal communication involved in that as well, right? A lot of gestures involved in feeling out the relationship and which direction it's going in. But like, again, going back to the notion of like Gen Z popularizing this dating trend, I don't really buy it.
But look, I don't completely dismiss it either. And I'm curious like what the audience thinks, because obviously plenty of Gen Z folks there, but I can see how the younger generation is more blunt. And when I talk to people in that generation, they do say things like that. I don't know that they call it hardballing. I don't know that they do it on every date, right? But yeah, and things have changed a little bit. At the end of the day, we're still humans. But I do see people being more blunt about, hey, look, I'm not looking for a relationship, and people being cool with that. And when I was growing up, which was a while back, admittedly, right? People were not cool with that. And by the way, women would be judged if they were cool with that, right? If you told a woman, hey, I'm not looking to get married, I just want to have sex with you, that date would end instantly 95 out of 100 times. And if it didn't end instantly and people found out about it, they would have judged the woman on the date, because there was terrible, awful societal pressures, a lot of which still exist, right? So it's fantasy land to say, at least it was back in the day, to say, oh, come in and be super honest. And what does 98% of guys want? They want to have sex, and maybe it'll develop into something and maybe it won't, right? But if you go and tell that to the person you're dating, it's weird, it's rude, I think, right? That's how I grew up. But I wanted to address one last thing. I said I don't like that quote. I want to explain what I meant. That quote that Anna read was, and if a conversation like that does scare them off, well then clearly they weren't for you anyway, count it as a blessing. That is said from an entitlement perspective. They have attractiveness entitlement, okay? So attractive people go, yeah, man, well, why don't you just say whatever you want, and then if they don't like it, they'll leave, and then you'll get someone else, and then someone else, and then someone else, and then you'll pick whoever you like. Yeah, that's not really how it works for everybody, right?
Really?
So there she goes.
I'm kidding.
Okay, but when
Anyway,
no, but when I was younger, like, it's not like we all had like 1,000 options. You were sometimes lucky to get a date. And so it wasn't like, oh, well, she didn't meet all my demands. You're gone. Who's next? Right? No, you were lucky to get the date. Right?
Yeah, there's actually another quote that I want to read, because I thought this was my least favorite quote in this whole story. And it's kind of goes along similar, it's like a similar theme. So a different dating expert said this in an InStyle article. Date several people at once in the beginning so that you are confident that this person offers you what you are looking for. No, don't date several people at once. That's a terrible option. Have options, don't just zero in on one person and project your wants on them. So it kind of goes along with what you're saying, Cenk, which is there's this assumption that like everyone can date multiple people at the same time. Not everyone, maybe you're from a small town, you don't have as many options, whatever it is. But also, I just think that's bad advice. Like, sure, if you're like just dating in general, you're going on like Tinder dates or something, and you're just kind of like testing the waters, dipping your toe in to see what's out there, that's fine. But if you're like spending considerable amounts of time with like several different people at once, I think that is a disastrous move. You're like too distracted, and it makes it difficult to really commit to one person or the next, right, or the other. I just don't. It sounds too time consuming, honestly.
Well, that's another problem. But
yeah.
Now you can really tell how old we are. But
I got things to do.
Yeah, these dating experts, I always feel like they've never gone on a single date. They have no idea what dating is actually like.
Yeah.
And so, like, if I told you guys, which I have in the past, so I went from not being very good at it. We talked a lot about that on Old School last night, to being pretty good. I mean, I don't know if you know this, but I'm kind of Mr. Jamaica. Okay, anyway, so at one point I was dating 3 girls at once. Okay, so a lot of guys go high five, and the minute you tell any woman that, they hate you forever. Okay, so Mr. Dating Expert, who's like, oh yeah, I dated a bunch of girls at once, what's the big deal, right? And you go to, oh yeah, I was dating 3 girls at once, and then Valentine's Day came up, and I had to see one at night and one in the morning. And then they want to strangle you. Well, date a bunch of people at once and everybody's cool with it? No, they're not. Do you live in the real world?
Yeah.
Right? And again, times might have changed and maybe some people are pretending to be cool with it now. But at the end of the day, our DNA is our DNA. So Anna, if somebody said to you,
I'd cut a bitch.
Right? I mean, oh Anna, it's okay. I'm playing the field. I'm dating 3 women at once. You're one of them.
But I will say, when me and my husband were casual, right? But like we both had feelings, but he was scared, okay? But when we were casual, I knew he was seeing other ladies. And I'm being very nice in my description. But come to find out, he was shocked that I too was seeing other people.
Ooh, drums.
And he was just like, I really thought I was the only one. I'm like, you don't want to commit. What am I, chopped liver? I'm like sitting around at home waiting for you?
Look at all these feelings.
You think I'm waiting for you? I'm not waiting for you. Of course I'm dating other people. You want to commit? I'm down to commit. You don't want to commit? I'm dating other people. Okay.
And I remember like one time you found something in the apartment and you talked.
Oh yeah, it was some bitch's hair. I didn't like that. I didn't like that.
Right. Meanwhile, dating experts who live in Elysium are like, oh yeah, date multiple people at once. If you don't like them, say get the hell out of here, man. You don't match my qualifications. It doesn't matter. I'm dating 7 other people anyway. Which planet? Which planet?
But that dating, that roller coaster, it's exciting.
Oh no, I love dating, and not just because of the fun stuff at the end, but because I love conversations. I love meeting new people. So I'd be like, well, she's fascinating. Not for me, but fascinating.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks for watching The Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.